In this video we are going to do an export of a movie, an MPEG-4 movie that I just did with my camera, and I'm going to export it out as a tiff sequence so that I can bring it into Maya. So with that I'm going to use Adobe Premiere. In this case I'm going to be using Adobe Premiere 2020. So that gives me some tools. You could use pretty much any version of it, although from version to version some of the settings change a little bit. So you may want to have the 2020 version to follow this tutorial. So when it comes here, it just tells me that if I want to create a new project, I'm going to say yes, create a new project. Tell me where to save it, so I'm just going to go and save it in my folder. So I'm going to put it inside of my classes folder and make sure that I go to the right location. And I'm going to save it there. I'm going to create a new folder for it so that I have, video conversion or something. And I'm going to choose that folder. That's where my project is going to be created. That's it. After that, there is nothing else I really care about much because I'm not going to be doing any of those settings down there. So I'm going to say OK, and it sets up my workspace in Adobe Premiere. Here you can go and file and import your movie, or you can just simply go and find it on your outside drive. And I'm going to grab this clip, which is the one that I may be using in Maya. I'm going to just bring it and place it, dump it down here under the project window. You see that on the project window it appears right there, and there is my movie. It says this is 25 frames per second, so I need to convert it to 24 frames per second, but not yet. I'm going to convert it at the moment of exporting it out. So I'm going to say, I'm going to grab it here, I'm going to grab it, dump it into the timeline to create a sequence, and that sequence is going to take the settings that come from the movie. So this sequence is at 25 frames per second. With that, I just know I have my whole video reference right there, and I'm going to go and export it out. So I'm going to say export media, and here on the formats I go and choose TIFF, and there of course it's going to create a TIFF sequence. It's going to match the source's size, and for the output name, here's where the trick it's important. And I'm going to show you in a bit why it is important. This is because if you export it out like this as it comes by default, Maya is going to put the number of your frames within this name, and Maya requires to have a name, a dot, the number, and then another dot. So in order to do that, I just need to put a dot, two dots. So name, you can put any name, dot, tiff, and then I'm going to save it. And down here, I just verify in the video settings that I change the sequence. I'm going to export out the sequence, but I'm going to change the frame rate from 25 to 24. That way, my render settings, when they come out in Maya, will work correctly. With that, I'm going to say simply just export, and that's going to be output to the folder where I have my project set up. So let me just try to open up that folder while it is exporting out there. You could change the folder by just clicking on the link of the name and just find the folder for it. Let me go and find it right here. Just 1 second. I'm just trying to go and click to my folders. So I went and looked for my frames, and they actually did not save into my video convert folder. So I needed to go and find them, and I made a mistake in my export. So I needed to save them to the folder when doing it. So how do I know where they went? I just simply can go back to my project and say I'm gonna export out another one just to see where it saved them. So I'm gonna open it up, and here in the name is where you can go and choose the location. There they are, my friends. So I just save them into a folder where I had saved some other files prior to it, so I can go and grab them there, or I can simply just go and choose the folder where I need them to be saved to. In this case, it would be under my video convert, and when I just do the same naming convention one more time, dot save, and then I'm just gonna export it one more time. Just hit export. So in there I'm having two versions of the file, but that's totally fine, of the sequence. And alright, that's done. So now I go to my location where I have told it to save it, and you see now that the name appears, there is a dot, and then the numbers that it will give me enough to work in Maya. I'm going to bring this into Maya in a minute. Before we do that, I want to just to clarify, because it's possible that your computer, maybe some of the settings are not the same. When you export the file, and let's say you don't have the tiff showing up here, you have just a QuickTime or anything else, you can pick anything else. Let's say, for example, I keep just JPEG, for example, and I can go and find the location for it, and let's say that my folder again, and I'm going to just go save, and then let's just go and export my file. So export, I'm sorry, not export, cancel that. Let me try one more time. I go and don't export, I just simply just go and queue it. I already exported, so I'm gonna queue it. When I queue the file, it launches Adobe Media Encoder. That takes a few minutes to launch, because Media Encoder is a large program. So it's doing it in the background. There it is. And Adobe Media Encoder just launched up. So I have to have two previous files I rendered out before. So I'm gonna delete those. That one too. And in this case, I can go and choose here where I can tell it to go and do a tiff sequence, and then in the name I correct the dot thing. So I can just say dot, and then I save it, and then I put it to render. I'm not going to do it now because I already have my files there, but you just click there and the process will happen there. Just in case Premiere doesn't have it in its presets, you will do that. I'm going to pause the video for a second, and then I'm going to launch my Maya to show you how it is mounted in Maya. So here I have my Maya open, and I'm going to import my sequence. So I'm going to go and find it. So I have my video convert folder somewhere on a location that I don't really need to be there. I actually need to grab that folder and move it onto, I'm going to just cut it from there. I'm going to go into my Maya project. Actually, my Maya project was right next to it. I'm going to put it in my source images folder of my Maya project. I'm just going to paste it there so that the whole folder gets moved there. Now I'm in Maya, and in Maya I'm going to split it for, in the front view, I'm going to create an image plane, and I'm going to go and find, let me set up my project correctly. My project is not set up correctly, so let me just set up my project. I think I have it already in my prior projects right there. So there it is. Now I'm going to go here and import an image plane. That goes to the right location. And you can see here my video converter. I had it done before, so you can see it there. But in my video there, you see that, and I click on the very first one, and I say open. So that comes in, and now I need to go to the Activate Editor. And when you are in the Activate Editor, you keep the image file as a type, and it's already having the very first frame. And then you simply say use image sequence, and right away it reads them all. So now I can just scroll through my timeline in order to see it. Let me just try to see it on a different angle. it should be showing it. Let me just double check what's going on with it. So I just discovered that my object is not showing because the display mode is showing RGBA and my file does not have alpha. So I'm going to make sure that it just becomes RGB. And now I can scroll to my timeline and I get to see my sequence. And I can just move it and place it wherever I need it to be and scale it up as big as I need it to be so that I can use for reference. And I can now go and split my screen and use my grease pencil tool. Sorry, let me use this one front view. My grease pencil tool in order to go and calculate all my different poses so I can start planning on my my different pose to pose and go to my second pose there. And so on and so forth. So you have a good, planning of all your different poses. There's a little pose right there that pushes a bit to the side. And so on and so forth. So that way I can just get all my poses identified very clearly. Alright, that's the way you should do your sequence so that you can use it in Maya. Good luck with your project.